People do write to me, Sudha Ben, you look like a Gujarati, and your books are so good in Gujarati. How come you are married to a South Indian? The answer is, here is Sonal Ben, who understands my heart. Thank you, Sonal. Then I have a great publisher in Telugu. Where are you, Ashok Garu? Please stand up. I know. Ashok Garu is here. Alakananda Prakashan from Vijayawada. Without meeting each other, he said, ma'am, I will publish your book, reading English book. He has done my 14 books in Telugu and very popular. Thank you, Ashok Garu. And many translators in that. But the first translator was our own person. Thank you very much. You have come all the way. There are many people in the whole series. Then comes, next one is my Marathi publication. Is there Anil ji is here? Anil and Sunil Mehta from, they have come somewhere, but I don't know where they are sitting now. Anil and Sunil Mehta from Kolhapur and Pune. They have done all my 19 books in Marathi. I'm bilingual in Marathi while I talk, but I can't write. So they have done, and it's very strange when I go to Maharashtra. People think I'm a daughter of Maharashtra. They call Murty the son-in-law of Maharashtra. Yeah. So in Kolhapur, if I release my book, there will be minimum 3,000 people with a pass, because they love Kannadiga speaking Marathi, and my books are so much in demand in Maharashtra. I'm grateful to Sunil and Anil Mehta and my very lovely translator. She has not come, she's in US. That is Leena Sohani. Jagdishwari, I want to thank you particularly. My very first Telugu you have done, I remember, in 2000 or something that kind. Thank you very much, Jagdishwari. Then there is the Piyush Prakashan from, Piyush from Prabhat Prakashan, Delhi. Piyush, or his brother Prabhat, will be here somewhere. Piyush, thank you very much coming all the way from Delhi. He has done all my 16 books in Hindi, and always ready to do the next book. He says, Sudha Murty ki Shreshth Kahaniya. I said, no, Shreshth nahi. Sudha Murty ki Kahaniya. I said, no, Shreshth Kahaniya. He adds always an adjective, all the way come. And without even meeting many times, they have done all my books in Hindi. Then comes Braille. I was, Meera, where are you, Braille? Meera is here. Meera Badwe is the person behind the Braille. So, thank you very much. Actually, Meera gave me many inputs. She told me, ma'am, our children cannot read. Is there any way you can give free of cost your DTP? I said, of course I will give. I don't even think twice. Then she told me, ma'am, there's an advantage. If they read your English, they can converse in English. And that is, they are come from a Marathi medium school. So it becomes so difficult for them to converse in English, which I have understood very well than any other person. I know how difficult it was to converse for me in English, though I used to understand. So I told Meera, if you are going to do Braille, you rather do in English first, and then we will do in Marathi. She has taken responsibility of that, and I'm very happy to tell my Braille books are extremely popular. Thank you, Meera, to taking care of that to those people. I should not forget my own mother tongue, Kannada. Maridumbiyaagi men kogilayagi puttupudu banavasi deshadol. That's what Pampa Kavi says, a great poet from Karnataka in 8th century AD. He says, oh God, if you give me a rebirth, give me rebirth only in Karnataka. It's a land where there is no sand, a land which has abundance, everything. It's a land fertile. It's so much full of flowers, fruits, and very kind people, including monkeys are very kind, and the monkeys destroy the coconut, and the coconut water falls on the earth and it becomes a mud. And in this land, I want to be born again and again. If you do not want I should be born again in Karnataka, then at least you make me actually a Shatpadi. That means a bee, so that I'll go and smell the flowers of Karnataka. And I'm ever grateful. Whatever said and done, Pahila Pyar, Pahila Khuma. Kannada is my first love. And it cannot be replaced by any other language. To my own mother tongue, Kannada. And my publishers here, IBH Prakashana. Where are you? IBH. Sanjay, thank you very much for bringing my first series of books. And of course, Swapna, Doddegaudru, and Mr. Shah, they have done my remaining books. And thank you very much. You people have done human service, and you'd go on pressurizing me to write more, but I will do in next couple of years. Okay? Doddegaudru is a part of my writing, Every time I thank him. Without your pushing me, I won't write. Then comes to Penguin. I can't forget. Penguin is a great publisher for me, and I'm very loyal to them. I have not changed my publisher from Penguin to anybody in the last 18 years with my 18 books. It was Udayan, it was Chiki, now it is Meru. They have always been very enthusiastic, and they always come out with whatever way I want, this way, that way. This year I have to do everything I have accommodated. And thank you very much, Meru, on behalf of Penguin, you have come. So my sincere thanks to entire Penguin team. Thank you very much. Malayalam, I have your own mother tongue Malayalam. I have a great publisher, DC Ravi. DC Book House, I don't know DC Ravi, where is DC Ravi has come, is there. He has done my books in Malayalam, and they're very popular in Dubai. I never knew. I went for a book session in Dubai. They said, oh, we know you. I said, how come? Oh, it's DC Ravi's books. So DC is a very well-known publishing house. So I'm grateful to DC Ravi that he has done excellent publication of my 7 books in Malayalam. Though my books are in Dogri, Assami, Bengali, Urdu, Kashmiri, Italian. That list, I do not know, the list is here. You can check. It's not just I say it's a 200 book. There is a proof of 199 plus 100. What I talk, I mean, okay? So there's a proof. So there are many small, Assamese, Oriya, many languages are there, but somehow I'm not able to establish a great writer in those in those areas, except these what I have told. No, of course I will do that. No, I have Punjabi, Tamil and anything. Now I want to, recently, about last year I think, I published a book in Sindhi, which was waiting for a long time. And 2 sisters have come, Barkha and Shobha. Where are you? I saw you. Here are they. So that's the first time I realized there is one side Sindhi, and then you did half in Sindhi and completed, and the other one is in Arabic script. Until that, Devanagari and Arabic. I was not even aware. I only knew that, that there is a Sindhi language, but the Arabic portion I did not know. They have done 2 of my books. So thank you very much, sisters. You have come all the way from Bombay.
Can I speak one sentence?
Yeah.
The book was a dedication to our mother, but we found a mother in you.
Oh, thank you. I'm really touched by that. Okay. I want to thank Shobha Kaveri. She did my initial translation in Hindi. Thank you very much, Shobha. And very Sunetra Jog. Hi, Sunetra. Sunetra has done my books in Konkani in Goa. And Goa I'm quite popular. Though they speak in Konkani, I can answer them in Marathi. I can manage. Thank you, Sunetra, coming all the way and doing my work. In Sute, have I forgotten anyone? Okay. I don't think I've forgotten anyone, but I have to really thank Himali, Pia, Varun, Mansi, Raghu of Penguin. Raghu of Penguin, I think me and Shruti trouble him a lot for every book release, Okay, thank you. And Sohini, you helped me all my publications from Penguin. Thank you very much. And that's what I wanted to do, the first job without forgetting. But most important, not the last, but not the least, the most important is that you readers, you matter a lot to me. I can write, translate, do all these things. But without you, I don't exist. If you don't, it's a performing arts. Shashi Tharoor will understand as a fellow writer, writing, music, dance, and painting. We are all cousins because we all are interconnected. If there are no people, then if there are no readers, then there are no writers. I don't write and keep it inside and be happy. It won't happen that way. So without you people and buying my books and making me probably India's one of the best sellers, and I'm really grateful to you. Without Infosys dividend, without any money, okay, I still can lead my life in my royalty. It is a great achievement for me. My writing is not because I'm Narayan Murthy's wife or Rohan's mother, not because of the first engineer, or not because I'm a daughter of Dr. Kulkarni, or sisters Sunanda and Srinivas Kulkarni. Writing is a gift of Goddess Saraswati. If she would not have been in my mind, I would not have written. The entire credit should go to Ya Kundendu Tushara Hara Dhavala, Ya Shubhra Vastravrata, Ya Veenavara Danda Manditakara, Ya Shveta Padmasana, Ya Brahmachuta Shankara Prabhuti, Devai Sada Vandita, Samam Patu Saraswati Bhagavati, Nishesha Jadyapaha. If she would not have been in my mind, I would not have written. Thank you, Mother. You are being with me forever. Thank you. Coming to my journey, I started writing, and it is like a cabbage I felt at times. There is a core. Cabbage is not a correct analogy, but I Googled. I didn't get anything else. There's a core inside and there are many layers. Writing was there with me 40 years back, and there were many layers like awards, criticism. You know how people, you right or wrong, you're in a position, then people would like to criticize. Okay, you get a lot of criticism saying that, oh, it's not a great English. You don't require a dictionary for Sudha Murty's book. It's good or bad, I don't know. I think it's a good because you don't have to have a dictionary. That's the way I look at it. So there are a lot of criticism. There are sometimes support, sometimes not. It doesn't matter. There are many layers came. Sometimes some awards, like R.K. Narayan award I got, crossword award I got, so many awards actually. Initially you feel happy when the award comes. But when you go on removing that, the core remained the same. Over 40 years, what remained with me is a joy of writing. What I wrote when I was in 1979, even now after 40 years, when I take my pen and sit down, I write in Kannada with pen and paper, English on the computer. It's very funny in my case. But when I sit on the computer or pen or paper, I have the same joy which was there with me 40 years back. It remains with me. And that's very, very important for me. It is not the awards. It is not the crowd. It is not the royalty. The very joy of writing. And that has remained with me. And I'm very, very grateful for that, to have that joy. I've forgotten to mention the most important person in my writing is Shruti Khurana. I mentioned everyone except my right hand. Shruti, I have seen Shruti the day she is born. Before her parents saw, I think I saw her. Okay. She's my friend's daughter. And more than that, she understands my mind. You know, when I'm talking, she's the one who is my editor, actually. And in early morning, we have a call, or late night, we have a call. And she also works for Infosys Foundation. So she does her office work, and then I will have my call, how to change, what happens. And I asked Shruti, where am I now? She says, you are in this story on this page. Okay, somebody said, where are you? Okay, you are in bathroom. But Shruti is, she knows where my mind goes. She understands me like a daughter to a mother. And she understands why, what pace I write, and editing becomes easy. And because of my heart-to-heart connection with Shruti, I think I'm able to sail through all these books so well. Without her, it's hard for me. Yeah, I could have done, but it would have been hard. She has been the most important person in my writing. Shruti Beta, thank you very much to be your part of me. So, I was very particular that Dr. Shashi Tharoor should come for this. I don't like to call Dr. Shashi Tharoor because I know somebody calls me Dr. Sudha Murty. At least you have a proper doctorate. I don't even have that. I feel very, but it's okay. I wanted to call you because as a fellow writer, I always liked you. And I liked you the way you took it in England, about the Englishmen, how they looted India. My son-in-law, for your information, the minister in Theresa May's cabinet, a youngest minister. And of course, being Indian but British by 100 years, he settled there. His loyalty is more to Britain. I said other day, Rishi, the most courageous person, how do you define? He said the courageous person is, how British people talk. Okay, these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I said, according to me, the most courageous person is go to the lion's den and face. And there's one person in my country, that is Shashi Tharoor, I told. Shashi came to your own country. He did not sit back and talked. He came to your own country, your own Oxford or your Cambridge Association. In front of you, he said, you people have looted us. Okay? And with statistics, not taking bias. Also telling that, yes, we have the gift of English language, but how you have made us poorer in 250 years. It requires a tremendous courage. And I have great appreciation as a fellow writer and the most courageous person. That's the reason I was so keen Shashi should come. Whatever maybe that, wherever he was in Kuwait, he was in Dubai, then he was in New Zealand. I said, wherever you are, 25th, you should be here. Shashi, thank you. You have really worked hard for this, more harder than me, to come over here. I'm really grateful.
Thank you.
I want to tell one more episode, because never give a mic to a mother and a teacher. They will never keep it down. I'm also a mother and a teacher and a writer, okay? The reason is writing, actually initially I thought my writing became more because of my social work, because I see so many incidents in life most people will not see. It may be I'm working with the prostitute, or it may be I'm working with cancer patients, or I may be working with hunger, malnutrition, etc. Or or in my work, I will meet a lot of film stars, politicians, people in power, a lot of money. My canvas is large. So I thought maybe because that is helping me to write. No, actually, writing also made me write. Actually, writing helped me to do better social work. Because what is writing after all? There are 26 alphabets in front of you. Okay? A group of alphabets makes a word. Group of word with little bit of grammar makes a sentence. A sentence is here and your heart is here. You express your emotion to, you take your emotions, assign to that one. F of 1 is equal to F of 2. That means a function inside in your emotion, in your heart, you take it, assign it to a sentence. And if it is really sincere, if it is really resonating fine, then it becomes a beautiful sentence. And group of beautiful sentence makes a literature. It is not the words, it is not the sentence, it is not the alphabets. A correct combination of words, grammar, and it is a craft. And the sentence and your emotion together makes a beautiful literature. And that is something very amazing, I felt it. With all this money, this and nothing matters. You have only 26. You can create an empire like Mughal Empire. You can become as poor as Daridra Narayan, or you can become as intelligent as Saraswati. This is nothing but a craft. You can take the words, whatever direction you want, and you can achieve. And this craft helped me to do a better social service because I started getting detachment with that. What is the detachment? Is to do your work, but yet don't interfere. This I learned in writing. And that work of my social work helped me actually to write better. Both of them were individually entirely different, but they were collectively exhaustive in my case. So writing helped me to do a better social work. I started understanding how to put my emotions better and how I can do a better social work and how I can convey that message to my fellow human beings. This is a different world you live, but there's one more world, the real world is existing. When I worked with the prostitutes, I worked in Kamatipura, I could not sleep for 3 months because there's a different world. When I've seen girls were sold in Orissa, it's a different world. I felt if I know a little bit, whatever work I have done, it should be given back to the society in the form of sentence, in the form of literature, without using dictionary. And I think I have done that. And that is only because of Infosys Foundation, a dedicated staff of Leena, Krishnamurti, Prashant, Asha, and without them, it's hard because they know. If I'm in a writing mood, I said yes or no, otherwise I talk something else. They say, madam is thinking something, they understand. I have an excellent staff that has helped me a lot. I have taken more than whatever time Shruti has given, but Shruti, I can't help it. You have to tell these many things. So thank you very much for patient hearing, and we are waiting that Shashi Tharoor will enlighten us with his brilliant knowledge, his brilliant speech, extraordinary knowledge, and enchanting manner, all three together. Thank you.
Wow, that was indeed very inspiring. If all of us notice the way she has linked the title of her 200th book, 200th title, when she was speaking about her author, she spoke about here, there, and everywhere. When she spoke about, her journey, she spoke about she being here, there, and everywhere. And when she spoke about Dr. Tharoor, she spoke about him being here, there, and everywhere. So I think that was so well spoken, and it definitely inspired each one of us. Without much delay, I would like to invite Dr. Tharoor to have a conversation with Mrs. Murty.
Sudha, first of all, that was a very enjoyable speech. I must say, I've never come across an author who took so much trouble to congratulate and thank every one of her publishers and translators. Again, you can see the decency, humanity, and heart in this writer, and I think they'll all consider themselves very fortunate that they're part of your journey. I have only one complaint with what you said.
Tell me.
You know that Saraswati is also the goddess of dictionaries. What have you got against dictionaries?
No. That is true. I know one of your uncle or somebody was the person connected to the Reader's Digest.
He founded the Reader's Digest in
I
India.
remember, naturally, that's the reason you are asking me that. Well, there is nothing wrong in dictionary. If my brother would have been here, he would have said, that's really true because he by-hearted entire English dictionary.
I've read that. In this book, there is a
Yeah.
section where one of you learns the Malayalam dictionary, the Kannada dictionary, and the
I
other learns
by-hearted
English.
entire Kannada, he did English. So when I write, actually I realized one thing. In India, people do speak English, but out of 100 people, 10 to 20%, whatever you do, they don't understand English. I've come across many people like that. About 10-20% people are extremely good in English with their vocabulary, like you, Ram Guha, and many more people, who are very, very good. It requires, if I have to read yours, I require a dictionary because it's so good, beautiful sentences, such a good words. Then I said, okay, Shashi has done fantastic, but that is his strength. But 50-60% of the people in India, they are like us. We speak, colloquial language. We understand English. We will be able to read. I am fine translating English into Kannada, Kannada to English. I am fine, you are fine here, everything is okay. Okay, that kind of think in Kannada, write in English. Most of us are like that. That's the reason I realized, I used to think people when I write my book, people buy it because Narayan Murthy's wife, or is it they buy because let's see what she has written? No, people buy because they can relate to me. Their English is like my English, but I have experience. So that's what made me, I should write in such a way that they should feel comfortable without dictionary. Because when they are reading, cooking, they are reading next to that. They can't go and bring the dictionary. So let them read, continue. That's the only reason.
I was very, very moved by that lovely story about your father being called in the middle of the night to go to
It's a true story.
attend to a young teenage girl having a child out of wedlock. And the amazing things about your stories are that, unfortunately, in real life, very often, your father would never have come across that girl again. But in your story, he does. Years later, he's somewhere else in a different town, and this girl comes and says, you must come to this village, which happens to be 40 kilometers away. If I were him, I probably would not have the time to go 40 kilometers. But he manages to go, and he sees again this same girl. And the lovely ending of the story is that this girl, whose life essentially he saved, gave her meaning, gave her purpose, and gave her money to get started in life. This girl has then set up a clinic in his name, and he didn't
RH
even know.
diagnostic.
That was such a wonderful story. Now, it sort of prompted many emotions. And one of the things that struck me is, it's remarkable the way in which so many of these stories seem crafted almost like a fictional work. I'm not accusing you of making them up, because knowing you, I don't think you would mislead the reader. So these are all true stories. But somehow, you meet somebody who, let's say, is lazy in college and
Lazy
not
potato.
interested in studying, and somehow you manage decades later to come across the same chap, and then the story has a moral and a purpose. So the same with your father and the young girl, the same with the poor old man you took in and helped, and then, of course, his son showing up, etc. I mean, the stories are very, very interestingly crafted in ways that have a beginning and an end. But in your life, surely there must be a number of stories whose ending hasn't yet happened to you?
Yeah, actually, these are the real stories. Somebody has said, oh, your movie stories are like movie stories, happy ending. I said, no. Out of 100, maybe 10 or 20 are happy ending, 80 are not.
But are there any where the ending hasn't come yet? There must be many.
There are many. Actually, I realized so much, in 22 years, I'm working with Foundation. Since 22 years, I've changed a lot, actually. For me, 22 years back, India means software, Bollywood, export, GDP and all. Today, my India means my children. My children means not Rohan Murthy. My children means my children of my country are my children. Because I don't have any duty towards Rohan, but I have a duty towards the children of India. And if they can get 2 meals a day, 3 sets of clothes, I will be extremely lucky. I feel I'm in that state. And it's not true. It's really not true. Let anybody talk anything. I know the ground reality. So I have picked up those stories with a happy ending because I want a positive ray of hope in the next generation. Then they, oh, India like this. Always I've seen people, oh, India like, look at America, India like this, look at UK. You can always talk negative about our country. Look at our history. That's the reason I respect you. You know the history very well. If you don't know the history of the country, you do not know the people of that country. History and the nature or the culture of the country are connected. So I want a ray of hope to my next generation, saying that, look, India is doing well. India is going to do well. It is not a computer. You press a button, the button dabao, you will get a result. It is a human being you are interacting. They are complex. I have seen rich people lying for small things. Actually, I should write a book. You know, big people with a small mind. Okay. So I have come across so many people in different ways, but I want to give the ray of hope, and that's the reason I have chosen only those 20% stories where you have a happy ending. And they're all true stories.
They're great stories. The other thing that struck me was there's a story about her grandmother, which ends with somebody blessing her, may you be the mother of 100 children. In fact, there's a title of a book that Penguin published some years ago, may you be the brother of 100 sons.
Yeah.
But the meaning here is very interesting, because what Sudhaji goes on to add is, irrespective of how many you give birth to yourself. So motherhood is more than the act of giving birth. It is actually the act of sustenance and nourishment of the child, of the act of creation, in a sense. Do you as a writer feel that in many ways you're a mother of perhaps hundreds of thousands of children whose minds have been in some ways infused with your creative spark, your nurturing ideas?
The Penguin book was not may you be the mother of 100 children, it was may you be
100
the mother of
sons.
100 sons. And it was done by the English
American guy, Elizabeth Dumoulin.
She came to India and saw that I read that book, and that made me to write may you be the mother of 100 sons. I really feel I don't pretend. That's one thing. And normally I don't lie, because I don't have a great memory power to remember what I lied last time. Okay, best is tell truth, and truth is alone. It is all alone, but it is a powerful. So I always do that. You know, in year 2001, India's parliament was attacked by terrorists. 13 people died. That time Rohan was in Cornell, and it was his birthday, so I sent him happy birthday, like any other mother will send. May God bless you, all those things. He wrote a reply, which he may not remember. He wrote a single reply. Every mother works for her child, and my mother works for other children, so that we can all live in a democratic India. And that was actually shocking to me to understand that helping other children, my son told me that I work for other children. Until that I was not even aware. So I consider it my duty to help those people who are below the poverty line without any thinking of any award, reward, recognition. No, because I have enough. Even though it is not there, it is ultimately the people actually. I feel that is very important to me, help. Whether they should remember me or not, I don't worry. Whether I really change or not, I do not know, but I make an effort. But I know one thing, one of my article, how I taught my grandmother, was a part of the CBSE syllabus. And people who have read, all these kids, whenever I meet in any airport, they say, oh, I have read that one. And it was very nice. That time I feel nice, and I feel pen is mightier than sword. 100 lectures you can give, but a good act is much more powerful than any other lecture. I feel that.
Absolutely. And in fact, one of the stories that stuck in my mind also, I should mention that because these stories are all true, they're bound to provoke a certain curiosity in the reader about the individual. We don't know, unfortunately, when these incidents occurred. In some cases, it's clear it's fairly recent when you're in the foundation and so on. Many other cases, it's very much the distant past, and other times it's not at all clear when it happened. But for example, there's a story about this very, very poor young boy whom she helps by giving him money that is adjusted to the fees and the hostel and board of his college. And to her surprise, one day, this boy sends back 300 rupees, saying that my hostel was on strike, so I didn't actually spend all this money, so I don't feel I should. And she mentions that honesty and that kind of integrity has nothing to do with your education, your class, your social position, whatever. It comes very, very deep inside the human being. And I would love to know when this happened. What has the boy done with his life thereafter? I would love to know what he's gone on to become, because such a person must be priceless in our society.
His name is Hanumantappa, and he's from Ballari. And this incident happened in 2001. And I wrote, when TJS George asked me, send one sample of your writing within 1,000 words. I calculated many times. I counted the words at that time without using the, our computers. So this is my first story I wrote and gave it to Indian Express. I thought he may not publish, but it published. Hanumantappa did his teacher's training program. I told him, beta, you come. Because you're such a person, I want to hold you. Come and work with me in foundation. I require someone like you. He said no. Then Mamta is here. Mamta knows that story. Mamta was my ex-secretary. So me and Mamta, we called him. Krishna Murty is there. Because they are the witness for this. It is not that I'm making the story. The witnesses are here. We called that
You
fellow.
tell them very well, so you don't need to make them up.
We called that fellow and he did not agree. He said, I want to, he was too much idealist. He said, I want to be a teacher and change the generation. I want to be in a village. And I told him, okay, you want to teach, then you do BA, BEd, you do MEd, you do. Whatever you want to do, I will give money for your education. Whatever you do. But don't stop in this TCH or something, teacher's training program or something. But he did not listen. He has become a school teacher. He's in near Ballari, some one village he's teaching, even today. But a priceless diamond, it slipped out of my hand. I would have kept me in foundation, put him in really in one of the best projects. But I have Abhay, whom I caught hold of him, and he's with me. He's another extremely honest. Abhay, are you here? Abhay will not even raise his hand. Abhay is one of the priceless gems. Abhay, you are here. Abhay, you raise your hand. Everybody wants to see you. Come here. Abhay is one of the priceless diamond Kohinoor, not from London, but from India. Okay. Abhay is a Kohinoor. Abhay came to me and told me, ma'am, I want to do social work. Nirmala, are you here? Abhay and Nirmala. And Abhay came to me and said, ma'am, I want to do social work with you and I will leave my job. I said, Abhay, you leave your job, your parents will scold me. Okay, you are a bread earner of the family. He said, no, it doesn't matter. And after 5 years, he comes and tells me, I want to work with you. Then I said, okay, let me teach him a lesson. I said, Abhay, I will put you to Devdasi work. It's very hard work actually. People have called me and him said, break your knees and you will break your knee and all those things. We get regular threatening we used to get. So Abhay, I said, I'll put you in Raichur, 42-degree temperature. Abhay did not know a single word of Kannada. He is from Delhi. And I said, okay, Abhay, you go there, work for 6 months. Mamta was there at that time. Mamta and Krishnamurti were there. And here is Abhay. It is not imagination, okay?
Well, a name like Abhay must be fearless.
Okay, here is Abhay. I said, okay, let him go to Ballari, Raichur. In that temperature, he will come back. Then, he doesn't know Kannada, he can't eat roti, jawar roti, he will come back. And I told him, you work there 6 months and you come back and I will try you. He comes after 8 months. And it told me in broken Kannada, I liked this job a lot and I'm continuing with that. Without Abhay, I would not have been able to do rehabilitating 3,000 Devdasis to normal life. The credit should go to Abhay and he doesn't come. It's great difficulty to bring Abhay to this congregation, he won't come. Okay, he feels very shy. He said, you talk about me, I won't come. But people should understand, there exists Abhay in flesh and blood, like how Einstein told about Gandhi, who dedicated his entire life just because he wants to improve those unfortunate women, and he still stays there. And every time I have a big fight with Abhay, I want to buy him a car. He says no. And I said, okay, I'll buy you a new scooter, which is 22 years old. He says no. And Abhay is extremely headstrong in this. Then he's the only person who has reduced his salary from 10,000 to 8,000. In 22 years, he gets 8,000 rupees. And here is Abhay, and he is better than a Kohinoor, I consider him, in my work. The credit should go to him.
How do we clone such people? How do we get more of them across?
And he found out equally passionate, equally good, another Kohinoor, his wife Nirmala. Okay, now they should tell how to clone, they should answer that. But there are rare, but we have such people. Here is Trilochan Shastri, where are you? Raise your hand. Where are you, Trilochan? You have to, I think he will not raise. Elidhar Trilochan, he is another diamond who is very good like this, He goes to village. Trilochan, PhD from MIT. Oh, no, where is Trilochan? I saw him somewhere, missing here. Yeah, he is a fantastic another person like that, Who, they don't care about their life. Abhay doesn't care his life. I said, Abhay, somebody will break your knee. He said, doesn't matter. At the most,
Your knees are intact, I hope, of it.
yeah, we took a police protection actually in this case.
Well, I mean, the thing about Sudhaji's book, as you can see, is it's not just about words, it's about life. Writing in many ways involves a distillation of experience, of language, of insight, of emotion or feeling. And all of that is there in this book, which is what makes it so interesting to read. But it also, in every single case, tells a story. There's a bit of an affectation today among some modern writers who feel that the writing is an end in itself, that the obligation to impress the reader somehow seems to outweigh the old impetus of telling the reader a story. With Sudhaji, you don't have that problem. She tells you a story. She tells you story after story after story. Some are shorter, some are longer, but they're all stories. And I think in many ways, one of the timeless appeals of her writing lies in the fact that it's through stories that one can impart some of the most profound insights that help us all as we grow up. I mean, why is it that so many of us have had the experience of hearing stories of the knees of our grandmothers? Of course, it's partly because the grandmothers felt it was part of their duty, as it were, to transmit culture and their reading and their knowledge through stories. But it's partly also because we've learned so much through the stories we've heard, whether consciously or unconsciously. And then we stop doing that, don't we? As we become older, we read for other purposes. We read technical books, which you've also written, I understand. I'm quite impressed. We read books on, how to cheat on taxes, or how to become better speakers, or how to change the world, if that's the way we want to go. But we by and large don't read for the kind of pleasure that comes from hearing a good story told and learning what we can by filtering her story, her experience, her ideas through our own minds. And I think that's one of the wonderful things that's been lost in many, many modern books. And with Sudha Murty's writing, it's very clear. It's not only not lost, it's there, and this book is a very good introduction to it. I think we probably should wrap up this conversation, let the audience come in with questions to you as well. Mm-hmm. But I'll end with one last thing. Did you feel that you were writing because you wanted to write, or did you feel that you were writing because you wanted to impart something, that you wanted to teach something, or you wanted to say something that you felt morally urgent that others should hear? In other words, was there a mission to your writing, or was it writing simply because you couldn't help yourself, which is the case with me, and I tried to give it a bit of a purpose and a bit of a gyan, exactly. But in very many ways, I think it is a fair question to ask you, because your writing does accomplish that, but was it central to your purpose in writing?
Actually, initially, when I go on a tour, I will encounter all these experiences, episodes, come back and tell at home. One is I'm a talkative person and extrovert, and my husband is an introvert, he won't listen. Or he will only listen, he won't talk. And that's the reason opposite poles attract each other. And whom I should tell my stories? I tell my sister, Sunanda, where are you? Raise your hand, please. Sunanda. Sunanda is my sister, older sister, she's a doctor. And I will invariably, poor one, she has to listen to all my stories. When I come back, it happened A to B to B to C, it will go on. One day she told me, you only tell all these stories, and why can't you make it, write it in a way so that there may be many people like me, they can understand. And I was also a computer science teacher in a college. I taught many years. My student Madhvi, there, raise your hand, Madhvi. Madhvi beta, she was my student. All my students, I taught computer science fairly well. And after they were my students, 25 years back, they were my students. So I asked Madhvi, 30 years? 29 years, they know. We used to miss the class, so they know. Okay. No, I used to have a lot of
miss
problems.
Miss the days, but count the years.
No. They used to attend my class and miss the next mathematics class. So that mathematics teacher is to get upset with me that you purposely do your computer science students not to attend mathematics class and all. Such problems we used to have a lot, actually. I asked Madhvi one day, beta, I have taught you many things. They have become like my children, I asked Madhvi, I taught you many things. Which one you remember? She says, I don't remember what you taught now, but I remember all your stories. Okay? Every class will have 1 hour. 45 minutes I will teach computer science. Remaining 15 minutes I will tell one story. All these girls remember only stories, but not the computer science.
But that's human beings. We all are like that.
So, listen also, you won't get marks now, even though
The
you fail.
lectures, you only need short-term memory, right? The lectures are you only have to remember until the exam. The stories you have to remember in life.
So, when Sunanda told me, you go on telling me every day a new story, and why can't you write? First I thought maybe I should share. But when I started writing, it was not for that. I realized, no, it's within me. I'm sure as a writer you understand. It is like, I cannot hold it. As a woman, like, after 9 months you have to deliver. Okay? Like a writer, I have to write. Otherwise, I cannot keep quiet.
George Bernard Shaw said, I write for the same reason that a cow gives milk. And it's actually very tricky. It's inside you, it's got to come out. And if
otherwise
it
I
doesn't
feel
come out, you'll really be in pain, like the cow would be if
then
she's
I
not milked.
realized I started feeling uncomfortable. If I know the episode, I'll come and tell her, the only listener. And then I started feeling uncomfortable within me. No, I should pen it down. And once I started writing it, then, in my case, I will tell you, I don't know what's your case. It comes like a frame to me. It is like a picture, a movie frame. The frame comes to me. I see the character, they talk, what they wear, what they eat, everything I can see. And I just go on describing. I'm not writing.
You have a very good visual eye, though. I must say, your descriptions are very interesting.
Because I see the frame. I see the frame. There's a lady, 9-yard sari, nut here, they have the chandra, have a flower, everything I see. I just go on describing that. And that comes out, and then I feel relieved. And then I said, it started with the purpose of sharing, but ultimately it became my joy. And maybe my pain, my expression of my emotion, it may be joy, it may be pain, it may be a sadness, it may be, disturbance or anything. It came only in the form of writing, and I became inseparable from that. Anything you want to ask me, I have to pen it down. It has become like this. I'm sure as a writer you understand that.
Totally, absolutely
And you
fascinating.
the day you finish, I think Mamta was there. I told Mamta today I want, in 2004, it was 4th April 2004. I told Mamta today I want half a day leave and I go because I'm very friendly with my secretaries, okay? And Mamta said, why ma'am? I said, in my mind, I finished my novel. Mrudula, she's going back to her village and I'm tired, I want to sleep. Because Mrudula lived in my memory, in my mind for 15 long years. And it took 45 days for me to write House of Cards, which got many awards. But the day Mrudula said, I will go back, and I felt my duty is over, and Mrudula went away from my mind. I was so exhausted. I said, I want to sleep. I can't sit in my office. In my mind, I did that. I'm sure you will do, when you take a novel, you take anything, they are like your daughters and sons, particularly with a novel. And when you have to say goodbye, you have to say goodbye to them. And when they go, and you relax. It reminds me of a famous Kalidasa shloka, Kavyeshu natakam brahmam tatrapacha shakuntalam. He says, Kavya is better than, the drama is better than a Kavya. And of all the drama, the best is Abhijnana Shakuntala. In Abhijnana Shakuntala, the fourth act is the greatest. And the 4 shlokas are the best in the world. In that, it says, though it's 2,500 years, 1,700 years back it was written, it says, a daughter is the deposit of others. 1,700 years back, okay? When her partner comes and asks her hand, it's hard for a father to give away, but she has to go. Oh, my daughter, please go. And he says, then you say, Shatamanam bhavati, Shatayush bhavati. He says that. When I say goodbye to my characters, I feel the same way. I'm sending them to their destination, and I'm retired now.
Yeah.
And that is my way of writing.
That seems the perfect note on which to wrap up our conversation.
Thank you, Shashi. Thank you. A wonderful conversation. Otherwise, people go on talking. So many people talk so many things I don't even understand. And once I went to the session and they were talking great things about a lady. I clapped, they clapped, I clapped, and my sister told me, are you fool? They were talking about you. I said, they were talking about somebody else, I thought. Because I don't have any of those characters, what they're talking. So I realized that somebody who can understand a writer's mind should be another writer, and that's the reason it's always a joy to talk to a fellow writer and a great writer better than me. Thank you very much, Shashi. Thank you.
That was very inspiring. I think most of what she said, all of us could connect to, because she said with so much heart, so much truth, so much genuinity. And I think all of us could place ourselves in what she was saying. This reminds me, I might just take a minute of what a quote by Dr. Tharoor once I was reading, and he quoted, I might not be able to put it across the way he does, but he said that India is not an underdeveloped country. It is a country which is far, far developed than many others, but it is in a state of utter decay. But with leaders like Sudha Murty, with leaders like Dr. Tharoor, I think this decay can be stopped. I think the audience over here would agree that we are very privileged to have them amongst us here today. With that note, we would leave a few questions out for the audience to ask. Sorry. Right. In view of time, we will have very limited questions. We will have 3 questions as directed by Mrs. Murty to be asked. So those who would like to ask questions, please raise your hands, and the lucky ones could be chosen by them, and they could be answered.
Brief, no political, no personal question. Be brief and no exaggeration. And your books are fantastic. Not that genuine question.
Right, as she said, it has to be to do with reading, has to be to do with literature, and that will be helpful. I think the mic can be moved around.
I prefer you ask Shashi Tharoor than me, because he's a rare person, coming to Bangalore. I'm a local, I'm available most of the time.
Sure. Actually, it's for both of them, because both of you are writers. There's something called a white lie, right? I mean, when we say the lie is white lie, and it's
A
helpful.
white lie is a harmless lie.
Absolutely. So is there something called a white lie when you're writing? And what is it? What's the secret when you're writing? What's a white lie?
In fact, my favorite example of a white lie is when, we had this, in America, there was a president called Jimmy Carter, who was famous for telling the voters, "I will never tell you a lie." And one of the skeptical journalists, who was a bit of a cynic, went to interview his mother, who was a famous, at that point in her late 70s, early 80s, rather cantankerous lady. And she said, "Come on, your son keeps telling the voters, 'I will never tell you a lie.' Is that possibly true? Hasn't he ever told a lie?" So the mother said, "Well, he's perhaps told some white lies at some point." So the journalist triumphantly seized on that and said, so he's told a white lie. What is a white lie? Lie is a lie. What is your example of a white lie? And the mother smiled very sweetly at her and said, "For example, when you came in, I said I was pleased to meet you." That's a white lie. So the fact is that when you for the purposes of fitting a story into a particular frame, in order to convey a larger message, if you say something that doesn't violate the integrity of the story, or in any way constitute something that harms anybody, neither the reader nor the person talked about, that kind of white lie should be possible. And I don't know if Sudhaji has had to in any way cut her story in that way to make it more effective. But sometimes that happens, and I would not hold it against a writer.
That's precisely why the question.
Yeah,
because it's so
I do white lie in particularly when I'm writing. For example, I wrote House of Cards. I wrote, there's a village by the name Aladahalli, and it's 30 kilometers from Hubli. Take a right turn, there's a pond, go under 20 kilometers, etc. I given. Many people have gone in search of that village, and the village is not there. But I know you should tell a lie which will not affect the core of the essence of the writing, and describe particularly the circumstances or the geographical situation. And in my case, it's always Dharwad and Hubli. I don't cross that one most of the time. I'm very familiar with that. People should feel it's really there. It's like money in the mirror. It's not there. But it should not affect the character. And it's like a weaving. If anybody knows weaving, it's a one thread of all these white lies, not maybe one in 100, and 99 the real one. You go on weaving, then you get a beautiful cloth. And these are the white lies, particularly name or the description of the village or their house. I can't say there's a house, that's it. Half a sentence is over. Not that kind. House is dilapidated house, black house, this house. Those are white lies. But it will not affect the core of the story, and which we use, once in a while. Otherwise it becomes very dry.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I think we have a question from here. Yeah.
Ma'am?
Yeah.
Ma'am, right here on your left side.
Yeah.
I'm on your left side. Ma'am, before we start, I must thank you, ma'am. You're very inspiring. You're very honest. You're very candid. You're very simple. And this goes without saying. I think she deserves a clap.
Who?
Everybody.
Me?
Ma'am, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I never knew.
Ma'am, I'm Dr. Shashi Tharoor. I'm sorry for the Bangalore traffic. We've all gone through this, and because it rains, it's really bad.
Tell me the question.
Ma'am, the question is very simple. Because you're a teacher, and ma'am, what's your favorite subject? Doctor, also a question for you. What is your favorite subject? Too?
Mine is history, it's easy enough. Hers won't be computer science.
Mine is always mixed with many things. Like I will teach computer science with history. I will teach computer science with some Jataka tales. I always had the 80-20 combination. But whatever subject or whatever work is given to me, I like to enjoy in that, and that I'll make it my favorite. That's the way I live. Yes, yes, please.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Ma'am?
No, Rama, my first position.
Yes. My serious concern is about, in this electronic age, how to improve reading with the youngsters.
Shashi should answer that.
Actually, youngsters are going to be more likely to read you than read me. But having said that, I think definitely it's an interesting challenge. I feel blessed that my sons, despite having grown up in a world in which Nintendo was available and computers were taken for granted and all of the other distractions that I didn't have when I became a reader, have still become completely wedded to the culture of books. You'll never see them on a plane without a book in their hands. And I'm very touched. In fact, Rohan, having done so much to create a library that salvages classical literature for a new generation of readers. So clearly there's something in some members of the younger generation where the spark has been lit. I'm not sure we parents should necessarily give ourselves the credit alone, but I'm sure that the example we set would have been an influence, for one thing. But the other is, yeah. No, you know, I'll tell you, it's a real problem. I meet more and more young children, children of younger friends, who simply don't read other than for schoolwork or for homework. I have been trying, I have a close friend's son who I've been trying, I said, okay, if you don't want to read, what are you interested in? You're interested in football? Fair enough, read a book on football. When you can't play football, I'll get you a book which talks about football, heroes, football records, read that. But get into the habit of seeing a book not only as a chore for school, but as a source of pleasure. And from that, other things will come. But you know, it's tough, partly because other forms of entertainment are so much easier to consume. I've seen the same kid sitting with his mobile phone, playing endless games of football, rather than reading the book that I gave him on football. And how do I make him understand that the pleasure I get from that actually stimulates his brain in a very different way from punching away the keys on his imaginary football match on his phone? I don't know. And I think it is a genuine challenge. I'm sure the book will not die out, will not become extinct. Readers will exist, readers will grow. But they've always been a minority in every society, right? There is no society where a majority of the people were readers. My worry is it going to become a smaller and smaller minority? That does worry me, and I'm very, very open to helping anyone who has good ideas for how to encourage more reading.
Actually, I feel parents should read to some extent.
Yes.
My grandfather was a school teacher. He used to read, and always up to up to 80 he used to read, and that encouraged me to pick up reading. And when Rohan was in class 5, I said, Bill, you should read at least one book per week. He said, okay, and he brought alphabets. Then I said, look, whom you are, deceiving. If you don't read now, then you'll regret. And then that made me probably, I don't know what made him to start, but if parents read, children pick up. We spend a lot of time on other things, and children don't pick up. To some extent, reading atmosphere should be there at home. Parents should read at least, if you read 100 books, they will read at least one book, there's a chance. But if I don't read at all, then don't expect them to read, and you should read and I will play games. That won't happen that way. I think we should close now. It's 8 o'clock. No. No. Joshi, Jana idhar, Joshi. No. Okay. No, I think we should
The
close.
problem actually is leaving books in school gives it the wrong association. We have to associate books with pleasure. Otherwise, I'm afraid, those who have only realized that books help them to pass exams, the day the exams are passed, they will not go back to books. We just somehow have to create this culture. And it's tough because, those of us who had it, no one had to actually force us. In fact, very often our parents had to come and drag the books away from us or switch off the light. Many is the child who used to read out with a torch under the blanket because the parents had come and switched off the lights. Because the book gave us pleasure. How do we manage? Unfortunately, because there are so many easier sources of pleasure to consume, how do we stimulate that part of the brain cells that actually make people read? I'd be if anyone has any brilliant ideas, send them to me.
So, Shashi, thank you very much that you have come all the way. And this is a small gift on Murty family to you.
Oh, thank you. It's a book.
The last copy in Ahmedabad.
Oh, yeah, she told me that. Thank you very much.
No, but we really don't have time. We don't have time today.
Rule.
No more.
Right. So in lieu of time, we would like to thank each one of you who have been part of this event. We would now like to end this event, and we would do that with a huge round of applause for the protagonist of the evening as well as the guest of honor, Dr. Tharoor. You can purchase your book, or the book that is now launched, and you can purchase it at the counter. There unfortunately won't be any book signing because in interest of time, and the books are available at the counter or it can be picked up from here.